Actually, it's my first participation in this meeting, in this conference. It is also my first visit to Israel. I must tell you that I had been told that Israel was a very warm country in any sense of this word, but also a land for innovation and for the vision of the future with a lot of dynamism of energy. And I must tell you that I discover this reality with a lot of excitement. It's only my first visit, but I am really fascinated by what I see here in this country, of course in my industry, but also among all the people that I meet. I thought that it could be useful first to give a little bit of information or figures about my company, because Orange is a well-known, I think, brand in the telecom world, but the group it belongs to, France Télécom, which is a French-based, as the name can mean it, company. The former incumbent, in fact, in France, has now become one of the top 10, let's say, telcos in the world. I don't know what is the population of the countries where we are, but I know the number of customers that we have. We have 230 million customers. We are mainly a European player, of course in France, but also in the UK, where we have a joint venture with the Deutsche Telekom, which is the #1 in mobile communication in the UK. We are also in Spain, we are in Poland, #1 in Poland. We are in Romania, in Slovakia, in Moldavia, in Belgium, in Luxembourg. And we are also in Africa and in the Middle East. In fact, we are one of the largest players in the telco industry in Africa. We are in 21 countries in Africa. We have 70 million users, customers in Africa. We are #1 in Egypt with Mobilil. We are in Jordan with Jordan Telecom. In Tunisia, I'm pleased to say that we are probably the ones that at least made it possible for the people to organize this spring, because we deployed 3G networks in Tunisia and gave access to internet to 1 million people in Tunisia. But we are also in Morocco and in a lot of other countries. This is about France Télécom Orange. Now, if I try to say a few things about the topic of this meeting, what about the future, and what about the future in our industry, ICT and digital world, I would say that there is probably a certainty about the future. This certainty is that the world will be more and more connected in the future. Today, this has been said, there are more or less 6 billion people using a cellular phone in the world. Among them, 650 million in Africa, more than in Europe. And the forecast is that we will reach 7 billion, meaning one phone for one man or woman on Earth. Not equally, clearly used, of course, but 7 billion very quickly. And this is going, to go on in the future. When it comes to what we call Internet of Things, connected things, it's just incredible. We estimate, the industry estimates, that there will be 20 billion connected things in our world, in our lives, in a few years' time. It will be cars, of course. It will be medical disposals. It will be a lot of objects of our daily life. So the future will be, no doubt about that, connected. This, of course, is a big progress, I think, for mankind, because it's going to make it easier to organize health services, education, access to culture, to information, probably also promote democracy in a lot of countries. Everyone can see a lot of positive things emerging from this digital revolution. Probably no need to reinforce this aspect of our future. But I think also that we have not to be totally naive about this and see what are some big issues that this digital revolution raises. And I would like to mention two, let's say, categories of issues. The first one is about economy, enterprise. And clearly, the digital revolution raises big issues in the economic dimension of our activities. Let me mention quickly a few of them. The first is about financing what is needed, what is necessary to create this digital revolution, which is infrastructure, communication, telecommunication infrastructure. Of course, if you want to have access to internet everywhere in the world, if you want to be able to use attractive services like Google, Facebook, or the services that telcos are providing, you have to build infrastructure, and it's, of course, costly. And as more and more people use mobile broadband and fixed broadband, you need to invest more and more in networks and in infrastructures. This is the telcos' jobs. And this is probably what the world expects from ourselves, the telcos, to invest massively in the networks. The problem is that to be able to do it, we have also, of course, to get the revenues, the financing that is absolutely necessary to make it become a reality. And this is a problem because we have regulation, we have a tough regulation, especially in Europe. I will not comment about the US, which is still a kind of El Dorado for the telco industry. But Europe is definitely today under a very constraining regulation, which makes it difficult for the telcos to invest. And also we have to find some new ways to get revenues in order to be able to finance those investments. And it's linked with the digital ecosystem, where we have a lot of different players, the big service providers like Google or Facebook, but also the telcos that are, once again, absolutely necessary for this digital economy that we have today. The second point that I would like to quickly mention is about bubbles. I think that this world has been seriously damaged in the past by bubbles. You had real estate bubbles in a few different periods of our history and different countries. We had an internet bubble, you know, only 10 years ago about. And honestly, we should, all of us, really wonder if we do not see today a new bubble about the digital economy and some of the most famous names and brands of this digital economy. And I think it's a risk and a problem, because if it is true that we might have some bubbles, tomorrow we will have some damage. Just keep in mind that if you take the market capitalization of the 5 big European telcos, ourselves, Deutsche Telekom, Telefonica, Telecom Italia, and KPN from the Netherlands, those 5 companies with more than 1 million employees, they weigh $200 billion in the stock exchange. This is less than Google only. So the way the financial world is looking to digital economy and to the future is clearly a question. But also we have some ethical, social, political issues that are raised by internet. It comes with children protection. It has to do with, more generally speaking, the management of personal data, what the experts call today big data. What is big data? In fact, it's a way to trade and to get some revenue out of personal data that people are letting in the network? Are they all the time aware that there is a lot of people managing their personal data and trying to get some money from that? I'm not so sure. And to be honest, I think that not only dictators are anxious from time to time about internet, but also parents with young kids, security services about criminality, and so on. So that's why I think that the world should also take into account those dimensions of the future digital world that we will have, because it's not only positive things, it's not only a progress for mankind, it's also a lot of issues. This being said, as a telco, what we want to bring to this digital future is based on the three main values that are part of our DNA. The first one is that we want to promote an open world for our customers and also for innovation. We want to grant a lot of resources to innovation, of course to build new networks, but also to try to finance and to be present in service innovation, for instance, through venture investment and venture funds. And I'm pleased to tell you that with my friend Maurice, Orange and Publicis together have decided to create a venture fund, I think one of the largest players that we will have in this industry, and that the very first investment of this fund, Orange Publicis, will be here in Israel, where we are going to fund we are going to fund a very nice startup called MyThings, which is absolutely fascinating, and we are very pleased to be one of the partners of this startup.
Anybody from MyThings is in the audience? Stand up if there is anybody here. You can applaud them even in absentee.
So, open world. An open world to us is a very, very important value that we want to defend, because there are obviously players that are trying to build a more closed, privatized conception of internet. The second point is interoperable. As a telco, we have, I think, France Telecom has brought to the world something which is absolutely essential today, which is the GSM. The GSM, which is the world standard for cellular communication, has been invented in our labs together with the German team. So it's a Franco-German association from Deutsche Telekom and France Telecom. And this is based on a very simple principle, which is interoperability, meaning that everyone can communicate with someone in the world, regardless of his device, his operator, and the place where it is. And the third point is about security. I think that this world requires, and the digital world requires, more and more security for companies, but also for individuals regarding the protection of personal data.
Thank you very much.
This is it.
Stephane, and we will get back to you shortly. Thank you very much.